tonight on MMT. This is, from a script standpoint, truly wacky, goofy, and cringy. It is not well written. I think that's the big takeaway here tonight as I bring in my out of theater reaction, and you can see it right in front of you. This thing, so often when you're watching it, I'm not kidding you, man, I had my hands over my face going, oh my God, I can't believe Gunn wrote that. Like, what the hell are you thinking when you are conceiving a movie and inserting this dialogue? It is truly, utterly something that you need to see to believe. In one word, Superman is cringe. And like I said, a goofy adaptation of DC's headline act, right? It's their number one star. He shouldn't be cucked. Oh, he is. Superman's cucked. And before we get into this film, I want to make sure this is very, very crystal clear here tonight on MMT. Anyone who thinks this film is superior to Man of Steel, you crazy, man. Like, your taste isn't even like dollar menu McDonald's shit. It's bad. Man of Steel, and I'm not even a Zack Snyder bro. Not even close, man. I hammered Rebel Moon. I didn't even love Man of Steel. First half's really great. Second half, too much. That battle goes on forever. But I got to tell you, the first half of Man of Steel is better than anything that James Gunn puts in this movie. Anything. Trust me. We're the best. We're the gold standard. And remember when I told you that source who saw this weeks ago said that Warner Brothers was nervous about this film? And, quote, they should be? Oh, yeah. Warner Brothers should be. And if I were down the street here, less than 10 minutes down Olive Avenue here in Burbank, California, I would be furiously looking through James Gunn's contract to see where the escape clause, the out clause is, because going forward, I'm not going to trust you like I thought maybe I could. And we're going to tell you why here momentarily. Let's get into a touch of the trailer, and then we get into the live MMT evaluation. As always, thanks for being here. The MMT evaluation of Superman starts now.
You were out there helping them?
I thought I was. They've always been wrong about me. I get scared, but that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
Bang! Superman. He is actually a human. That's the takeaway. I'm just a man with heat vision. I would argue that heat vision is slightly more powerful than being a real person. I don't know, just me. That's just my first initial thought here with that line of dialogue that you hear at the end. That's the speech as he gives to Lex Luthor. And then we're all supposed to say, oh, isn't that sweet? He's just a person. Here we go, guys. Get ready. This is a deeply goofy script, okay? So often when you're watching this, you just say, yeah, I get it. It's a comic book movie, but why are we having characters say and do shit that's completely dumb and cringy? A lot of this dialogue, you just go, what? What's going on? Lex Luthor has a girlfriend that's constantly taking selfies throughout the entire movie. Now, there is a twist to it that sort of pays off, but it's not even like really a good thing, right? There's a better way to write this, and that's all you think throughout the entire film is how much better this film could be if there were someone else helping James Gunn write this, because so often the choices are just wrong. or again, just awkward. And you're going, why? Like the meme. The other thing that's crazy is that Superman is cucked here. I mean, big time. You've got Krypto, the Wonder Dog, saving the day. How many times? 2, 3? I mean, since when does Superman need help? He's got a super dog come save his ass? What the hell? Like, all the time. James Gunn's fascination with his dog clearly inserted into this film. And I think, the whole idea of Krypto should have stayed really with the League of Super Pets, that animated film Warner Brothers put out a couple years ago, right? It's just not really in the world that we are now. I get it. You want to see a comic movie that's more fun. The kids want to have fun with Krypto and you sell the merch and all that shit. But I'm saying that if you're going to put Krypto in, let's not make him such a big chunk of the film. Because Krypto is a massive chunk of the film. Interesting how very few people brought that up on Monday. Because remember, we go back to those Monday reactions and we talk about how Warner Brothers was telling everybody to discuss, let's say this is a comic book movie come to life, and Corn Sweat's great, and so is Nicholas Hoult, and there wasn't a whole lot of Krypto takes over the whole thing and basically is Superman. What? What's happening here? Okay. So there are so many fundamental flaws with this script-wise that's the issue that cannot really be helped here. You talk about when you watch a film, so often I'm always saying to myself, what would I do to make this better? Because I'm not passive when I'm watching these things. I'm trying to be as active as possible and figuring out what is a better choice, because often there is a better choice. But here's what happens, okay? I'm going to explain something that happens in Hollywood all the time, and it clearly happened here with James Gunn and the folks down the street at Warner Brothers. Okay, when you get to be someone as big as James Gunn, it's very hard to tell someone who is that large in stature, as it were, with that much power, that maybe what they're doing isn't working, okay? And you get the sense from the stories of how he treated Corn Sweat on set, telling him to shut up. We'll pull that up later. But there's a lot of evidence in the direction of James Gunn being a prick, okay? And that's fine. A lot of directors are pricks. Okay? And a lot of studio heads in the past were pricks and eventually got fired because, of course, you can't have that. But for whatever reason, James Gunn seems to be getting away with that. So they don't have the balls to go tell James Gunn, let's change this. This isn't really what I'd be doing here. And there really had to be a second set of eyes, third, fourth, fifth. Someone had to step up and say, listen, this story, you've got to alter. We've got to go down a different path here. This whole between universe stuff, what the hell? Okay, there's just so much here that doesn't need to exist, and we can compress this and make it a tighter, more emotional film rather than, again, the word that keeps coming back here tonight, goofy and cringy. And that is unfixable. At the script level, it's too late. I can't go back in and fix it without rewriting the entire script. Corn Sweat acquits himself nicely here. I like him. He physically looks like Superman. He's got that old-fashioned, all-American kind of thing going on. He's not a problem, okay? And I don't think that he is a downgrade from Henry Cavill. Everybody coming on saying, you're a Snyder bro. Oh, really? Okay. I'm literally telling you that Corn Sweat's not the issue. In fact, I probably like him maybe in ways more than when you look at Cavill. I probably like the emotional layers of Corn Sweat. Again, just kind of the innocence that he brings to the role. Cavill physically is a little bit better of a match. He's a little, just a little more ripped, right? I'm not saying Corn Sweat doesn't look good. He looks like a farm boy, right? You look at the shirtless pictures. He's not as cut as Cavill. Cavill's jacked, okay? Corn Sweat, though, doesn't look out of place in Superman outfit. I'm just saying just little things, little nuance, change here and there. And I would say that that's not really an issue here I need to discuss beyond saying that he works. And so does Brosnahan. The chemistry between the two of them is not an issue. Nicholas Hoult, another story. I think there's some times that I like what he's doing here, other times not. I believe that goes to the writing. Okay, if you're an actor and you're having to do and say some of the things that Lex Luthor has to say here as his world is built out, right? Lex Luthor is a very large central part of this film, not like a niche or even like a semi-niche. He is a big, big chunk of the film. Obviously, And because of that, I think you get the best representation of what Lex Luthor would look like, but I don't believe Nicholas Hoult is the exact match for who should have been cast. It's not a negative. It's not a positive. That's why I have the thumbs up, thumbs down on Nicholas Hoult. I think when you look at the Justice Gang going into this film, instead of the Justice League, you got Justin Gang, Nathan Fillion, and then Mr. Incredible, or whatever his name is. By the way, when you watch Mr. Incredible in this thing, it's not Mr. Incredible, is it? I swear to God. Mr. Terrific, I knew to say it can't be Mr. Incredible because that would be the Incredibles. Mr. Terrific is completely Kirk Lazarus from Tropic Thunder. When you watch this film, you can tell that Gunn, if you didn't tell him to do it, the actor playing Mr. Terrific is doing Kirk Lazarus, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. What the hell is happening? The entire film, if you see it, when I say this, you're now going to go, oh my God, Weber nailed it. 100%. It's exactly what's going down. Also, Nathan Fillion, okay, can I just say that I'm tired of his act. Every time he was in Suicide Squad, right? Every time he shows up in a film, he's doing a version of Nathan Fillion. Here he's the Green Lantern. And he's the goofy Suicide Squad. This is what the Justice Gang is. It's Gunn doing Gunn things. And all of that detracts from the film as well. Okay, you've got all these comedic moments that I think don't have to be inserted into the film. I'm not saying the film should be as dire as Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I have no problem with some sense of humor, but I think it goes too much into the cartoonish realm, and that is an issue here as well. Solid effects. I don't really have a problem with the way any of this film looks. I think directorially, just the absolute aesthetic of this works. That's not an issue. It's really just all about the script, okay? And that is really problematic, okay? Guys, listen, there's obviously very key ingredients in a film. Direction, screenplay, performances. And when the one in the middle, the screenplay, has as many issues as this has, then you're not going to get a great film. There is no universe in which this is a great film. This is not how you start the DCEU, okay? It's just not. And the fact, again, that I'm here tonight having to do the work of the studio execs who couldn't tell James Gunn that his film isn't great because, James, you're not. And the fact that you survived those tweets is still bewildering to me to this day. Go back and look at them, anybody, and I defy you to come into my world and tell me that those aren't problematic. But from a script level, this is really, really bad. I'm going to give it a 60%. That's a D. Okay, guys, you got to understand that when I am at a 60 out of 100, that is not a 6 out of 10. Oh, that's good. No, it's a D, dude. Old school grading system. We are not raised like these kids these days where, everything is great. No, 6 out of 10 is a D. If you got a D back in my day, that's bad. And this film is a D. You've got to rewrite the screenplay. That's the MMT fix. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to fix, but you have to do this early. And I'm just so tired of these weak people in this town that don't have the fucking fortitude to go up to James Gunn. You're not a god, Gunn. Whether you believe it or not, trust me, bro, you ain't one. Someone's got to tell him, dude, this isn't good. I'm telling you, man, you bring me into the room. I sit down with James Gunn and go, dude, this script's not good. I need you to bring in someone to rewrite this. And you want to see what I'm talking about? Let's go look at IMDb, and I'm going to show you who wrote this script. James Gunn. The other two are the creators of Superman, Siegel and Schuster. They don't count. They just get the credit because they created Superman. James Gunn wrote this. James Gunn, his ego is too large for his talent. His talent level does not match his ego. Oh, it's 100%. By the way, if that's not a like, if that's not a subscribe at this moment, then I don't know what to tell you. Nobody in this space is as deadly accurate as we are, as fearless as we are, and as objective as we are. And the fact that I just said that James Gunn's ego does not match his talent is brutalizing and also at the exact same time, fair as hell. That's why we are, once again, the gold fucking standard. And don't ever forget that. If you step into MMT, you're not playing around. These are where the pros hang. And there ain't no one in this space hanging with me. No contest. Let's have the comments. Bring them in. I'm ready for as many as you want. I am ready to go here on this Thursday night. If you're watching, I've got Gone Girl on the producing. Go ahead and hit those for me. I'm ready to do it. If you have a super chat, let's go. Let's do it. Gone Girl, hit me. Let's go. I have my banner up. I'm ready. Let's do it. Hit me with a comment, big boy. I think he left. I think he took off. I literally need somebody who doesn't leave, okay? That's all I need. When I saw Menzel gave it 6 out of 10, I knew immediately this was not bode well for me. Menzel tends to be a lot kinder and gentler to films than I am. But the reality is, guys, I'm going to explain this to you. It's very simple. When I go into a film, it doesn't matter what I said on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. It's Thursday. It is game time. When that film starts and I see the Superman old school logo pop up and I'm into the film, we are at 0 on the scale. Like every film starts, okay? No film starts at -10, -20, -30. Never happens. Always starts at 0. At that point forward, everything is being evaluated as we are trying to figure out what this film does well and what it does not do well. And that's what we do better than anybody. So don't come in here telling me I'm a Snyder bro. Don't come in here telling me I'm biased. Don't you dare come in here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. If I didn't know what I'm talking about, I wouldn't get DMs from directors all the time saying you are dead on all the fucking time. Just because you don't like what I have to say doesn't mean I'm wrong. In fact, if anything, look in the mirror. You got the problem because I certainly don't. I can promise you that. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And there's a reason. I have the background, I have the stats. No one touches my evaluations. I am in the 900 range on the batting average. No one. It's not even a contest, guys. It's not. So don't even bother. Go ahead, say what you want, but I'm just telling you, you will lose. This isn't a game, okay? Felicity. I have to do this because I've got all of these. And listen, Felicity, I know you're an Anon, so it's fine. You're allowed. I'm not making fun of you, Felicity, and thank you for Super Chat. Before I do this, I've got all of the Anons on Twitter going, this guy's the worst. Imagine calling someone the worst who doesn't even have the fucking guts in life to put a face in front of your picture when you tweet something. I'm too scared. I have to live in the basement of my parents' house. That's the reality we live in. Oh, I'm sorry if you don't like what you're listening to. This isn't for you. I don't care. Do you think I care? It's my channel. I don't give a fuck. Leave. Think I care? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for the betterment of film. Okay? Felicity understands. She gets it. The marketing had me ready to hate it. I came out thinking it was mid. Somebody got to get fired because the studio iteration before this rung $1 billion from a POS like Aquaman. Gunn was not the person to do this. I got to say, though, Felicity, in fairness, first of all, thank you for the super chat. In fairness to Aquaman, that came out when superhero flicks were still all the rage. We're past that, okay? I talked about coming into Superman here tonight that we had to have a great film, right? Not a good film, not a mid-plus film. I need to have a great film. There is no metric at which this film is great. Nothing. Like the closest thing this film gets to great is Corn Sweat. He's the strongest element of this film, okay? I'm not saying Brosnahan isn't, but it's not Brosnahan. It is Corn Sweat. This is Superman. This is not Lois and Clark, okay? So as such, Corn Sweat is the number one takeaway. If you're drafting from this film, you're taking Corn Sweat out of here at the number one position. You know what's getting undrafted? The script. Do you know what a problem that is? If I'm taking a performance at 1 and I'm not drafting the script, we have a bad film. You guys understand that, right? When we're talking about a great film and I'm doing the draft and I'm taking direction, script, performances 1, 2, 3, then we're up there. We're talking about great film. When I'm not drafting the screenplay, it's an undrafted free agent that doesn't ever make it to the NFL. This is a problem on a $200+ million film. Maybe $300 million plus. You got to have the script right, okay? So what you need is what I say so often. You need to have somebody who has fucking balls to tell James Gunn, you're not all that. The same thing that needed to be said to Kevin Costner when he made that atrocious Horizon. We never got part 2. Who was right about Horizon? Who was right about Megalopolis? Who was right about Mickey 17? Who was right about Alto Knights? A lot of these are Warner Brothers films, by the way. Who was right about Beau is Afraid? Who was right about Babylon? Who was right about Poor Things? Anora? Who was right about The Whale? What else do you want to throw in there? I'm sure there's more. If you want to go hear someone who has no idea what they're talking about and praises everything, and I'm sure he's praising this, I'll hammer him again tonight. Go listen to Sean Fennessy, the biggest fraud in the space. Have fun, Ringer Bros. Worship your fake idol. Holy shit. I guarantee. You know why? Because they're going to have James Gunn on the Ringer cast. Well, then we can't be mean, can we? If we're mean, then he might not come on. I don't care. I don't want James Gunn to come on because he's got an ego. I couldn't even have a conversation with him. Yeah, Weber's got an ego. But if I was making a film that was $300 million and someone came to me and says this isn't good and they knew what they were talking about, I'd listen to him. Thing is, nobody has the balls. James Gunn's a god. We can't say anything mean. E-Man can play Man of Steel because it's... I mean, listen. Does anybody fill out the Crystal Palace player kit better than me? By the way, some love here tonight. Again, Crystal Palace, what? We got the yellow, we got the blue, we got the red. This is the gold standard. It's not just about the content. It's about the aesthetic, baby. Someone did mention we don't have enough magenta on the screen. I totally agree with this. It's a very valid criticism. I will attempt to add more magenta in the near future. Information man, thank you so much. I appreciate any super chat. And let me tell you something. Even if you don't agree with me, and I think everyone knows this by this, anyone who's watched MMT knows this, they go, holy shit, no one goes this hard. No one is this fearless. No one is this objective. And no one is as backed by specific points when we discuss these things as me. And we're also doing it live. Might I remind you, this is not Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman. We're not recording this. I'm not doing 1,000 edits. This is a one-take shot. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I would argue most times it's okay. Tonight's okay. David Lowery directed Pete's Dragon. I love David Lowery. You don't even need to get started because don't even tell me about Ghost Story, bro. The close of Ghost Story is symphonic perfection. It is spiritual beauty, man. The end of that film is one of my favorite closes to a film ever. And David Lowery, you know, listen, and I'm not a huge fan of The Green Knight. I understand that A24 changed kind of what he wanted to do with that, which sounds weird, right? A24, you think, allows people to do whatever they want, directors. I hear that it was a different vision from Lowery. I like David Lowery a lot. So I listen, I would put David Lowery's name in a hat to direct almost anything because he's shown the versatility to direct a Pete's Dragon and then go to a Ghost Story, Old Man and the Gun, and, you know, Green Knight to a lesser extent. But I mean, at least that film looks like money, right? It just looks really great. Very boring film, though. But, you know, listen, Lowery's definitely one of our favorites. You know, you talk about a top 10 unheralded directors. David Lowery's on that list, no question about it. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see a Bennett Miller return to the space. You talk about a Moneyball. You talk about a Foxcatcher. You talk about a Capote. Where'd he go, right? What happened to him? You know, and before 28 years later, a Danny Boyle. But after 28 years later, he's in director's jail, right? We have director's Alcatraz, the, you know, alligator Alcatraz. And, oh, that did it. They're angry now. And that's where we have, who's there right now? Let's think. Okay. James Gunn's not there because I still think as a director, I'm not going to put him in the alligator Alcatraz of directors. But I am going to put definitely... No question, we're putting Danny Boyle in there. Also, without question, Megalopolis. After that, Coppola's in there. Barry Levinson, Alto Knights, definitely. After Ferrari, Michael Mann's in there. After Gladiator 2, Ridley Scott's in jail. I mean, then you look at a Chazelle who just got out of jail for Babylon. We just let him out. He was just paroled. So really, you're looking at, if you fuck up, you're going to alligator Alcatraz, okay? If someone has a better name for directorial jail, we need an alliterative D. Like... something, a D word for shitty and director and then the jail. I don't know. I'm just winging it here. I think Eric prefers the Flash. You know what's interesting? Just speaking of Flash, you talk about a comic book movie that was fun and had so much energy. I'm not going to talk about the Flash because I think the Flash is definitely superior to this. I mean, no question. You look at, you know, if it weren't for Ezra Miller's off the field shit, and don't get me wrong, I was the guy who talked about that all the time. Go back and look at the streams from that. I didn't give him a free pass, but once we get into the film, I'm not going to worry about that off the field shit. Same thing with Magazine Dreams, man. I didn't go into Magazine Dreams saying Jonathan Majors beat his girlfriend, or allegedly, or whatever that is. As a performance, it's the best performance I've seen this year from an actor, Jonathan Majors, in Magazine Dreams. Flash is a better film than Superman on virtually every level. Its high moments beat Superman, and as an overall film, it beats Superman without question. The Flash. But I'm going to get back to Flash Gordon. You talk about a fun comic movie. Why can't we have films like that anymore with the Queen score? And oh my God, what a blast. I was a kid when I saw that. I mean, I knew then, even though I was really young, this is really great commercial fun filmmaking, right? Just what a film. Felicity, so we can say that Superman made you cinematically flaccid. No, listen. I don't think it's an awful, awful film. Did I sound that way coming out of it? You go back to this reaction? Of course. I think that's fair. I did. I mean, if you look at it, it sounds like I think it's the worst thing ever made. But when you look at what I actually say here tonight, I don't think it's the worst film that I've seen this year. Mickey 17 is far worse than this. By the way, this goes to the Snyder bros out there who's like, oh, he loves Snyder. Let me remind you of what I said about Rebel Moon, okay? A straight knockoff of Rogue One with shades of Avatar. Rebel Moon bores with its seen-it-all-before familiarity. Zack Snyder imprinting his speed-ramping filmmaking touches throughout with near zero emotional impact. The struggle to determine why this film exists persists. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Let me tell you why. First of all, 5's an F. So don't even start with me. Someone's like,
a 5, it should be a 1. I don't know what you're doing.
Let me explain to you. For those of you who are like 20, when we were kids, a 5 out of 10 was a 50%. It's an F. 50% is watchable. Rebel Moon is watchable. It looks okay. It's not a great film. 1 out of 10 or 0 out of 10, that's something like Beau is Afraid. Okay? Or what else do we have at 0 this year? Something really terrible. I'd like a 0.5. Right? This is not that, and either is Rebel Moon. But I'm not a Zack Snyder. Let me explain something to everybody so they understand. Man, I don't know why. For those of you just like, you think that I'm some kind of fucking shill or something. I'm the least shilly person in the space. There is nobody, and I do mean nobody, and don't even come in. Bring a name. There's no one in the space who goes as hard as me. Why do you think the studios all know who I am? I'm not saying that like I'm proud of that. I'm saying they all know. Let me remind you of what happened when I came out of the movie a few weeks ago, test screening outside. This happened. Menzel will verify it. He's coming in tonight. He will verify the story. Because I don't tell stories that aren't true. I don't have time for that shit. I'm walking out of AMC 16. They're doing a test screening on the side. The guy who's running the test screening goes, oh my God. He goes, I watched your stream. I said, hey, I appreciate that. I said, hey, any chance we could come in? I knew it was a test screening because they're all lined up. I know what those look like. And he's like, I would let you, but once you get in there, they'll kick you out. I'm like, why? Because they know who you are. They'll kick you out. I'm like, why? I will make the film better. Because here's the thing. If I see a test screening, I'm not going to come out and do what I'm doing right now. Because that is different. A test screening is designed to make the film better. This is a final product. If you would have shown me Superman 6 months ago, I could have done everything I'm doing here tonight in front of James Gunn and not shown it to anybody and said, this is what you need to do. In this case, there's nothing to do. There's no way to fix the script. You already shot it. I would just trim. There's a scene early, that journalism scene where she's grilling him and asking the questions. That goes on way, way too fucking long. That's got to be collapsed, okay? That's the first thing I would do. But from an actual structural standpoint, there's no way to correct this film. But I say, why can't I go? Because they know who I am. Because they don't want to have their feelings hurt. Too bad, man. I don't care. Listen, last I checked, the studios aren't giving me a paycheck. So why do I give a fuck if they care if I hammer their films? It doesn't matter to me. I don't have to worry about getting invited to Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal. I don't want to go. I don't want to see the critics. I told you guys a million times, I don't want to see these people. They're bad. 95, I'd call it 98, 99% of the critics in the space are untalented, not objective. They all have agendas, typically left-wing, okay? And they go into the films ready to say, like, go back to a Hillbilly Elegy, I always bring that up. It's terrible because the politics. No, it's not. What are you doing? Why are you saying that? Because they're compromised. You cannot come into a film with your politics. I don't come in and say, did I once tonight say this film was woke or not woke? Did I once bring that up? No. And if you want to answer that question, if you ask me, is this film woke? I'd say no. Although they cuck Superman. So, I mean, technically, maybe. See, that's what I'm saying. The lens of woke or not woke is like the absolute last lens. I don't think I even pulled it out of my bag. The lenses are not woke. The lenses are screenplay, cinematography, editing, directing, acting, right, score. And the score here's fine. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I think it's mid-plus. But you look at this film through all those filters, and it just doesn't excel at any of them. So I don't know what to tell you guys. It is what it is. Kaczynski probably would make a better one. Oh, God, I got to watch Eddington. That's right. Let's check sales tonight because it is time to do that, and we're going to get in. I'll get into it with Menzel here shortly. Let's do the seat check. We do this every Thursday, those of you joining us. If you have a comment, you saw Superman, come in a minute. Feed those into me, Gone Girl for sure, but I'm going to do a sales check here tonight as we look at sales here at Burbank for this film. I expect them to be strong. It was very busy, 3 o'clock prime today, where I got a chance to see this film. 9:15, IMAX. What? Oh, it's so busy, it got a fatal error. Do you guys see that? What? That's how busy it is. No, this page was not helpful. It says, it asked if it was helpful. Let's go back and click another one. What just happened? It literally said I can't even get in. Let's try it again. It still says I can't get. I've never had that happen. That means they're crashing. All right, here's the 8:30. Is that one crashing too? Okay, well, apparently just the 9:15 is not working. Here we go. Let's look at look at that. There's 3 people up in the front. That's not good. I've been in this. This is a great screen. This is Dolby, love Prime. IMAX is probably my 3rd favorite at Burbank. But you look, that front row's bad, man. It's really too close. You really want to be in row 4 and beyond. Even row 3 is okay. But look at that. Slammed. Superman's going to be big, man. There's no question. I'd be stupid to say it's not going to be big. I mean, remember, I have the ability to be very abrasive to a film and turn around and say that I think it's going to do well at the box office. Those two things do not intersect at all. They're completely separate, right? So it doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing that I would do is say, because the film is not a great film, I would downplay my forecast and my projection. I'll give you here momentarily. Menzel's here. We're going to talk about it momentarily. I'll give you my projection in just 1 minute. Menzel, get ready. I don't think we're going to argue tonight, though. I think he didn't like it either. I know he didn't, but we're going to see how much he didn't like it. Here's XL. That's their new thing that's not really Prime, not really laser. It's somewhere in between. That's pretty slammed. Let's visit Universal, and then we will get ready for the number here tonight, and then we'll be joined by Scott Menzel live. If anything, guys, here's what I want. If anything tonight, I want one thing out of you. Even the haters, you got to give me this. I'm fucking live, baby. Well, I'm not really fucking live. That would not go over well on YouTube. Probably X would be okay. I mean, they allow some pretty racy shit. So if I were fucking live on X, it would probably be okay. Certainly OnlyFans. I think Menzel's going to leave after that. That's it, everybody. Say goodbye to Menzel. He's leaving after that comment. I'm not coming on and being part of this shit. All right, let's check the 925 IMAX. It's an error at 10:15. What the hell is an error? You're being rate limited. What's that mean? Is my internet provider screwing me over? Wow. Okay. Let's try one more. Then I'll just throw out my number. Let's try Prime 3D. Okay, that came up. Look, that's a weird theater. Look at that. Can I just say, look at this theater at Universal. There's all these seats, and then there's literally like another whole section that should have seats. There's nothing. What? Why do you need a ramp that big? Are there cars going through? Does this theater like exist out in City Walk where people can walk in between the seats? I'm thinking that's what it is. It's an outdoor screen at Universal. That's why there's a moat. This is why we're the best. After everything I just said, you guys like the moat comment's pretty good. I like the moat comment. Thanks for being here, guys. Get ready. Here it comes. You ready? By the way, tonight's kit, before we bring in Scott Menzel, tonight's kit is Crystal Palace. And again, why? We've got the yellow, we've got the blue, and we've got the red. And I got the yellow watch kind of to offset. Listen, nobody comes into the space with the balls and the kits Hey, right? The kits and the balls like MMT. Here we go. Let's bring him in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Scott Menzel live from right here in Los Angeles, and kind of you to join us here tonight on this Thursday. I was kind of grilling him here a few minutes ago before I started the stream because I said to you, Scott, why do I always have to be the guy who comes in and is the voice of reason and says this is not a great film, and then everyone attacks me for the only person to have the guts to say the reality of the situation? You tried to say this, but you didn't go as hard as you wanted to. I want you to admit that right now, Scott Menzel.
No question about it. I mean, no question about it. I went back and I rewatched this film, and I will tell you that I immediately was on the fence of making the review fresh to rotten. I made the review rotten, and I dropped my grade down to a 5.
I'm disappointed it took you 2 viewings to do that, but it's okay.
Well,
Go ahead.
No. Listen, because like you said, I listened to like part of what you were saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
The movie like has scenes that work. And I think that's what the problem is with the movie in general, is that it's ironic, right? Like, I don't want to make this about fucking Snyder, but like, we can't help but bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same issue, right? In a lot of ways, Snyder always tried to bite off more than he could chew. He always tried to throw too much into a movie. And here's James Gunn doing the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah. He's gunnified it. Big time.
But like you said, the thing what's crazy about this is, and again, I'm not going to go as hard as Erick did, but I will say that anyone who's like giving this like an A+, like I'm sort of like, there's no way. No. Even if you like this movie, even if you love and worship James Gunn, you cannot look at this movie and say that it is not without flaws.
Oh, God. I mean, listen, the negatives outweigh the positives like 10 to 1 here.
No question.
Right? That's the thing, right? I'm not saying there isn't a positive here. Yeah, but 10 to 1.
Try to watch this again. Watch it. Like, literally try to. It is insufferable to sit through again. Insufferable.
It was hard enough the first time, dude. I mean, how about that scene where the two of them are talking, the interview, right? In her apartment, or right? Early on. It goes on forever. There's a way to make that scene not go 10 minutes. I swear to you, it feels like it's at least 10 minutes long, right?
Well,
that's already too long.
The narrative setup of that scene.
I get it, but
it was interesting because the narrative of that scene, I really liked it the first time around, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, this is a really terribly executed scene.
I agree.
It's really bad. Like, it's like we're arguing about breakfast for dinner. Then we're about to like go make out and have sex.
That's right.
And then we're like, oh, can we do an interview? And it's like the interview goes across all these weird things, from like the ethical politics of like Superman interfering with war.
Oh, geez, that whole geopolitical bullshit
on social media.
Oh my God, right? Oh, and what's it called? The Beyond universe? No, the Between. What's the name of the universe that's in between?
Pocket. The
Pocket universe, where James Gunn puts his, well, I mean, right, because it's James Gunn's movie. We're going to have the girlfriend who wrote a blog about me that was nasty. We're going to imprison her in a cage. Like, what in the hell, right? Because Lex Luthor playing the role of James Gunn. Right? I mean, that's the kind of stuff this film does that makes you go, why?
Yeah, no, and I think what's... The movie is overstuffed, right? I think I was the first person to kind of come out on Monday night and use that, and since then I've seen that used a lot. And I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm just literally going to say, like, I feel like I was one of the first people to kind of claim that this movie was overstuffed. When I'm watching this film, you sort of have too much going on. And I did see some of the people in the comments, and I agree with you. The movie forgets that it's a Superman movie. Like, there's so many other things happening that you're setting up the Justice Gang, and so much of this movie is focused on other people doing things as opposed to Superman doing things.
Yes.
That you're sort of like, why is this not Superman and Friends or something?
Well, that was like Super Friends back in the day, right? In the Saturday morning cartoon. You're a little too young for that. But for those of us who are Gen X, we grew up with Super Friends versus the Legion of Doom. And, right, he's setting up that whole thing. But even like I touched on when I did the evaluation, when you look at that Justice Gang, Nathan Fillion doing the same shit that we've seen him do 1,000 times before. Very Suicide Squad-esque, right? That whole group is. And by the way, I don't know if I told you this. I said it on the stream if you didn't hear it. When you watch Mr. Terrific, I want you to watch it. We already saw it twice. You're not going to see the rip. He is doing Kirk Lazarus, a.k.a. Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Listen to him. It's like the same exact. Like, I don't know if Gunn told him to do that or what, but the way he's talking is like, holy shit, it's Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. And that whole thing is just like he's in the movie so much. Like, why is this guy in the movie almost as much as Superman?
No, I mean, and there's this. God, I mean, are we spoiling this at this point? What are we doing?
I mean, listen, we already talked about the geopolitical bullshit, the Justice Gang. I mean, what are you going to spoil?
Okay, so I'm just going to say there's a scene in the movie where, and Eric talked about it earlier, where there's this girl who takes selfies.
Oh, God.
And there's a reveal that happens that's part of the, like, some kind of twist that I thought was just absolutely absurd. Like, I rolled my eyes. Like, I'm like,
right.
This is really not how this is going to be revealed, is it? And yes, sure enough, it is. And what's crazy about that is that reveal leads to Lois and Mr. Terrific. No, it does not. Not Mr. Terrific. Lois going back to the Daily Planet to get a couple people to join her.
That's
as
right.
They kind of
in the
tell
spaceship.
this story. And I'm like, they choose these people to go on this spaceship, and like 2 or 3 of them don't do nothing. Why are they there?
Yeah.
There's a girl with like, I don't know how to
okay, let me tell you why she's
boobs,
there. You know why she's
the
there? You know why she's there? Because James Gunn thought she was hot. Andrew was trying to, right? I mean, come on. You don't think that shit still happens in Hollywood?
In the entire movie. And
I know.
I think I forgot there's a character. She plays a character in the Daily Planet. I can't remember the name. Cat something.
Doesn't matter.
But nothing. Does absolutely nothing. And then there's that guy, right? The goofy guy who like takes the Alka-Seltzer, who doesn't have the C. Like, why are you here?
Oh yeah, that guy from the beginning.
The point of this.
And then of course Jimmy Olsen. How about the way how he ties into Lex Luthor's girlfriend? And how about the weird shit? Okay, listen. Let's just, since we're here, we've been on the stream now for 45 minutes. I can do whatever at this point. If you're still watching, we're allowed to say shit like this. Mutant toes. Like, is he literally telling us he has a foot fetish? Like, what? Gunn is literally revealing himself throughout this movie because his girlfriend Lex Luthor is saved in a phone as mutant toes, and he has a line saying your toes are weird or what. I'm like, what the fuck?
No, I thought that whole, I mean, listen, it's very hard in that whole thing to buy, right? Like, it's sort of like, I like that actor who plays I like that actor who plays that guy, Jimmy Olsen.
I agree. He's fun.
I like that guy. He's very nerdy and dorky, and he's been in a lot of things that I've always I think he was in Booksmart, right? He was in Booksmart.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
great in the movie.
He's a fun guy. But like the problem is that this whole plot of like the way that Eve looks and this whole weird thing that's going back and forth with them, like this run-on gag of like, oh, I don't want to be in this relationship. Like it's like he's a 5 and she's like a 9.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know.
What are you talking about?
Because you know why? Clearly he has a huge cock. Let's just, I mean, no, I'm not kidding you. No, Scott, honestly, that's the only thing you're left to think. You're like, well, clearly he's hung like a fucking horse. He's the John Holmes of journalism. You're not getting that at Ringer, you guys. You're not getting that at Ringer. But it's got to be. It's the only answer because he's not really that tall. He's not that buff. He's not that good looking. So why is this super hot chick checking him out? Because he's hung like John Holmes.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just like, again, the movie just bites off more than it can chew.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
that's because James Gunn's ego. Listen, okay,
no,
right?
100%.
Because no one told him that what he wrote isn't great, and they said, keep going, keep gunnifying this because you're a god, James Gunn. That's what this guy believes. I'm telling you right now, if you were to talk to this guy in person, not that we'd ever know, because he would never talk to me. I don't know about you after this, but I can tell you this, that this dude's ego is so fucking big, because there's no one who would write a script like this and think it's great and then make the movie and still think it's great. It's not. He needed to get someone else to help write it.
No, I think I mean, I said this in my actual written review. I know people don't read anymore, but if you want, you can go over the We Live Entertainment and read it.
You can pimp your site. That's all we're paying you, though. This is a low budget channel. Extremely low budget.
My perk is that I can come on MMT.
That's right. That's it. Whenever you want, you have an open line.
Those four viewers are going to go over.
That's right. That's right. Hey, listen, we're up to 300 plus right now. We're doing well.
Because we're on Twitter and everybody's watching this. Like, look at these two.
Yeah. No. Also, the tweet I sent earlier is going off, which is. Hold on, let me pull it up one more time. It's the one where this is what I'm talking about. I have to say these things because you won't. And then I have to be the guy who's the bad guy. Let me see how many views we have on this right here. Let me pull it up one more time. And there it is. I said this movie is cringe, a goofy adaptation of DC's headline act, and Man of Steel is a hell of a lot better than this. And now everyone's getting angry with me. But it's like, dudes, why do I have to be the guy? Why do I have to be the guy who does that? But every time I am, because you hold back, and then you come on here and you destroy it. There I am. Look at me miserable in the theater. You don't do this. Oh, this is speaking of cringy. That's what I always get whenever I do one of these. Like, this is my shtick. Speaking of cringy, there's that guy being cringy. But dude, no, seriously, you didn't go this hard on it, and now you are. He's at a loss for words.
Listen, I literally. I mean, there's a lot of movies that I'll be the first person to admit it. I mean, I sometimes go back and watch movies again, and I literally like look at my reactions and I go, I'm not really sure what I was thinking in that moment. I mean, I did in all fairness water down my reaction to this, and I rewrote my initial tweet.
Why?
Because I thought it went too hard. I thought it went too hard.
Don't do that, Scott. We need more people that don't worry about that, because there's no one else. You think Fantasy's doing this? Do you think that Robert Daniels probably would? I mean, because it's not, chin strokey. I mean, he probably loved it knowing his track record. But you know what I mean? There's no one in the space who goes this hard and then stands behind it. And I know you're in a weird position because you've got Astra, you got stuff, and let's just be honest. And I get it. But, listen, there's a way to do it. There's times I go too hard. I'm not going to tell you I don't. But you can go a little bit harder. I think that's fair. Well, I mean, I think, it's very hard. I mean, if I'm being very, 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 just... Go for it. That's what this channel's all about.
All in.
Yep. I
just feel that since 2020 happened, there has been so many mediocre movies, and I walk out of so many of these movies. We've seen a couple of them together. I mean, I don't hate Superman. I don't hate.
Same here.
I don't hate Jurassic World Rebirth.
Nope.
I don't. I know you're gonna.
Oh, I definitely hate this. Say it.
Megan. I
hate someone asked me.
2.0
someone asked me this or Megan. Oh God, Megan is one of the worst films I've ever had to sit through in my entire life. So no, that's not even close. No.
But here, the truth of the matter is right. I feel at this point that I am now, because of the landscape of movies.
Yeah.
I am really grading things on a fucking curve. And
don't do that.
I've been giving so many, like if you go through my IMDb, like my Rotten Tomatoes, I've been giving sixes, because like these movies are just, they do, and it's weird because I hate the platform of Rotten Tomatoes, right? I'm not saying it's the worst horrible thing. It should be down.
Read that
Film
comment.
Twitter considers Eric the bad guy because they can't handle the fact that he's right 99%.
And I am not movies with Kevin. Thank you. I'm not movies with Kevin. My batting average is in the 900s. But see, is a 6 out of 10 rotten to you or fresh? Can I ask you that?
It's tough. It really is, because to me, when you look at it based on a Rotten Tomatoes scale, it can go one way or another. It should be kind of like semi-rotten.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a 5 and under is 100% rotten. Like, again, I'm just basing out of a 10. But like you said earlier, it's like if you're giving something a 60%, it's a D.
Yep, that's my grading scale.
It shouldn't be like
it's not fresh. Thing. Not in my world.
And I feel like most of these movies that I have seen are somewhere in like a C range.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because I'm like you, Eric. Like I really want to go into these movies and I really want to love them.
Of course
like
you do.
I want to go in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to the guy right now who has, I have stood up for so many DC movies. Like movies that people have fucking like hated and destroyed, that I literally do. Like I think Shazam 2 is a better movie than this movie.
Well, listen, I don't agree with that, but I know we both agree The Flash is a better film.
Oh, The Flash is
no contest.
It's a masterpiece.
No contest, dude. There's no anyone who wants to argue that, I'm just gonna let you know you're wrong. We're not gonna play the game.
Masterpiece compared to this.
Which one?
Joker 2.
Oh yeah, Joker 2 is a better film than that. Oh God, yes. Black Adam. I think Black Adam's better.
Is better movie than this.
Overall,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have Black Adam like a 7 out of 10.
Here, I'll throw something else out. I'll say James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
is a better
100%.
movie than this.
Agreed. I mean, seriously.
I asked every.
Okay, this is better than Blue Beetle.
Yes, it is. That one
Shazam 2 for me.
I cannot get behind at all.
But no, I mean seriously, I know that I can't even believe that people are going to pretend, and it's a charade, that Flash is not better than Superman. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you think that, then you're just wrong.
Oh,
and also you're telling people that you know nothing.
Complaining about the CGI in that movie.
Who cares?
Yes, I understand.
Yep.
It's the CGI clusterfuck in certain parts of it.
Yep.
How about this whole thing in between? I mean, the Pocket universe. There's a fucking river that looks like pixels.
Yep.
And there's a CGI baby. Yep. So
yeah, I think the CGI is okay here. No, you're right. There's times. Okay, no, there's times. But again, people just like to find one thing and attack it. The Flash's moments with Mom in the grocery, and with Michael Keaton.
This is
way, but no. Listen, both those.
Listen,
Michael Keaton and Mom are better than anything that you will find in Superman, and that's just two things from Flash. As an overall film, it's a better film. I'm not going to listen. You can go around and listen to the fantasies of the world who don't have a fucking clue, whoever you want to talk to. I'm here to tell you that if you think Superman's better than the Flash, I'm just going to tell you you're 100% wrong. It's not even like 99. It's not. Don't tell me it's subjective. You're wrong. You're wrong. There's nothing to discuss about this. But I'm tired of the hate the Flash got, because you know what I'm tired of, Scott? I am tired of people bringing in their personal bullshit into a movie and saying, well, Ezra Miller's a piece of shit. That's not what we're evaluating here. No one is talking about that, okay? I am talking about as a film. Forget what Ezra Miller did off the screen. Magazine Dreams, forget what you know about Jonathan Majors. You got to just watch these films. All these reviewers now, they bring in agendas, and you know that's true.
No, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, I think we've talked about this a lot. I mean, it's cool to like stuff. I mean, you asked me that question. I mean, I'm working. I'm really trying to answer it. The thing is that I don't really walk out of too many things, and I absolutely hate it. I think I tend to want to say, because I want movies to succeed. I want to see something. I want to see this get better. I want to see the industry get better. And I really I love movie. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it, especially after the last couple, couple of years. I mean, everything, this whole industry, this whole town has went to shit.
Yep.
And
People losing their jobs right and left.
Left and right. And I mean, I'm trying to like look at someone and think like, there's a whole, like everyone says this, there's a lot of people put their heart and soul and everything into this, right? And I try to like, when I analyze things now and when I criticize them, I'm really trying to look at the good and bad. But there's just a period of point where like you get to watch something, and I think like, to me, it's like you're 100% right. Your gut is usually 95% right when you come out of screening for the first time. Like how you feel
99.9 for me.
Really? I guess
I
it's
just
just because I watch so much stuff that like sometimes I like to sit with it and digest it a little bit.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I feel like you should know almost instantaneously, at least if it is a recommend or a not recommend. At least that bar.
But don't, I mean, I don't know. I mean, prior to 2020, I literally felt that way when I, like 9 out of 10 times when I walked out of a movie, I would be able to 100% give you I like this movie. I would recommend this movie. I love this movie. I want to shout from the rooftops and praise this movie. I fucking hated this movie. But I feel like now the quality of everything has just decreased. The writing over the last 5 years, especially, is 8 times out of 10, there's something wrong with the script.
Well, 100. Listen, yes. And in this case, it's because you have an egotistical writer who thought he could write a masterpiece and he didn't. And that's the problem, Scott. You got to understand. There's so many people in this town that are afraid of telling the talent, whether it's a director or an actor, I think less to an actor than a director, that they aren't doing something right. This isn't good. I mean, I go back and you look at a Megan 2. If I was at Universal, and I know you don't listen, I'm just telling you, if I was at Universal and they showed me the first cut of Megan 2 and say this is what we've got, I would immediately fire Jason Blum on the spot. He'd be fired. I don't care what he's done for me before. He's getting his shit and he's leaving. And look, the film completely tanked, which I'm celebrating because I wanted to see that fail. But we need more people in this town who have the talent to tell these people this isn't good. Okay,
but that's not Jason Blum's first. That's not Jason.
No, I'm with you. That's my point.
His fault.
I know, but here's the thing:
it's the director's fault.
Okay, but he agreed to it. And he made it. He's the fall guy.
I mean, he is the fall guy. He should have been asking for rough cuts of something and kind of said,
how about just greenlighting that script?
I know.
What is the script? The genre
swap. Everyone, going back to Superman for a second, like, here's the thing. Everyone who's watching this movie, almost all the critics say, like, oh, it's lighthearted, it feels good, blah, blah, blah. It feels like a James Gunn movie, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not just going to single out Snyder. I mean, go to Patty Jenkins, go to David F. Sandberg, go to any director who's directed a DC movie. If you if every person had their vision literally get to play out, I wonder what that would look like. So I think it's really weird because I feel like so many people are grading this movie on a curve.
Of course they are. That's all we do now.
Like you said, because every person likes James Gunn.
It doesn't matter. That's why you can't be buddies with these people. You can't even think about that.
And it's like people were asking me the other day, going, "Oh, this is just a Snyder fanboy." It's like, listen, I mean, Rebel Moon, those fucking movies are terrible.
I agree.
Literally terrible.
Star Wars
I saw
knockoff.
The first movie at a Producers Guild screening. And I was like, okay, visually wise on the big screen, because most people saw that, on Netflix. I was like, okay, visually wise, I can kind of appreciate this, but the story is not good. The acting's not great in this movie. And again, I think when you look at stuff from Snyder and you look at when he had the most control of things, if you really compare the Justice League cut, his cut compared to everything else, Like you really see a vision. Again, not perfect movie, but it's very good for what it is. And that's because he got to make the movie he wanted to make.
Well, but here, okay. So these are a couple of really good comments here. First of all, did Superman have a good script? Well, it doesn't even matter because James Gunn wrote it, so he's going to greenlight. It's his script. That's the problem. He has too much power. You need to have someone looking over him. And I know he's there with Safran, right? Well, Safran's his buddy. He's not going to tell him it's not good. And another comment here about Nolan. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. Nolan's an aberration. He is the best in the field right now. You let him do whatever he wants. The problem we have is there are far too many people that you consider to be elite directors, not you, but in general, this town. Gunn is one for sure, that they say, go ahead and do whatever you want. And then we end up with Superman, or you go to a Chazelle, we end up with Babylon. You can't, listen, I'm telling you, the number of elite, top of the shelf directors, right? The very, very top, the peak of the mountain. There's only a few that I would trust. And I used to think maybe even a Bong. And then you get a Mickey 17. You see, that's the thing. You always have to have someone who is very smart, who is overseeing these people. I don't care if it's Gunn. Nolan, I'll let him do what he wants to. I'm not going to mess with Nolan. He's one. But virtually every other director, I'm going to say, I don't care about Whiplash. This script for Babylon's garbage, and I don't think this is going to work. You got to have someone who says that. We don't have that. And it's because the missing element is that old school studio head, like a Harvey Weinstein. And I know, listen, Scott, it's going to make you uncomfortable. I'm just going to say this. From one aspect, not the off the field garbage, horrible shit. I'm talking about from the aspect of a studio head who got what he wanted out of his directors, and he was the final word. We don't have that anymore in this town, and we have people in positions that are creative, in control of that they don't have the talent to be able to tell these directors it's bad. They actually think the Superman script was good. There's the issue.
Yeah. I think what the problem is that there's this constant battle that's going on in Hollywood where you have a director and you either let him go to town and make everything that he wants to make, or you have the stories of the studio interference and then you get a watered down version. And I think that's the question that I posed in my review for Superman, is that what's the right thing here? And I think sometimes studios come in and they fuck with a vision so much that it ends up not being the movie that the director set out to make.
Okay, but here's the thing. That's because the people at the studio don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well,
and also,
agreed.
How about the test audiences that we see that show up for the $5 Amazon gift cards? These people that show up at 1 o'clock for a 7 o'clock screening, they don't even have lives. Why are you having these people come into a movie and telling you what's good or what's bad? I've said this a million times, and Scott, you need to verify this right now. Remember when we walked out of the movie a few weeks ago, and the test screening guy was there, and he said he watches my stream. And no, listen, Scott, just tell me. Listen, Scott he wasn't listening to this, so he knows he has to answer this in the affirmative. I feel like I'm in Social Network right now. When they came out and the guy was like, I watch your stream, said, can we come in? And he's like, no. I'm like, why? Because they know who you are. Did that or did that not happen?
No, it 100% did. It 100% did. And I think that's the reality of things is that, I don't know. I know you and our approach to things is very different, but I do know at the end of the day, the one thing that I know we both have in common is that we want movies to succeed. We want Hollywood to succeed. We want actors, directors, writers. We want all these people to succeed. And I think what kills me is that I get asked for my opinion all the time. I used to get invites to go to early test screenings and feedback. And what happens is like, if you're too honest with them, you sort of become, I guess, just like removed from it. Like they don't want you. They don't want to.
No, they don't want to hear it.
It's weird.
Yes,
like
man.
they kind of like, they're like, we want your feedback. Give us your feedback.
Yeah.
And then you give them the feedback, and then like, little do you know, like you're in like a couple weeks from now, you never get invited back, and you're like, what happened? Like I was like getting these for months. So it's like I gave you some constructive criticism and you don't want it anymore?
Because they want this, and you see it right there, the shills. And I talked about this on Monday on that stream. They want people that are going to accentuate positives and be happy to be in the building, go to the premiere, go to the junket, and be on the good side of the studio.
It's not just. Listen. I'm going to stand up for WB. It's not just WB.
I'm not saying it's just, but they really focus on it.
It's Disney does too. I mean,
well,
listen,
I know. Well, screw Disney.
Disney has
Disney.
actively taken so many critics off lists.
I don't get invited anymore.
So many critics off list, and they have almost all of the embargoes now. I mean, Fantastic Four is, I think, the first embargo in a long time that is actually going to have like when the all media screens. When is the embargo for that? Monday, the Monday before it comes out.
Is that this Monday or next Monday?
Next Monday.
Next Monday, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is that that's the first time they've done that in a long time. I've literally been very frustrated. They must think it's okay.
They must think it's pretty good.
I think so too. Because most of these other things have always kind of had like the junket crowd or the influencer crowd.
Yeah.
And that's where the reactions come from.
Ballerina had that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. But I am also concerned. I mean, you posted this online. I mean, the thing that scares me the most about it is that these, Lionsgate toe dipped with it, with the ballerina things. We're leading into positive reactions.
Yep.
The, that thing you posted about Superman, like it's not like twisting your arm going like you have to, but it's implied. And I think that's the reality of that. And it's also like, I have to say that it's very difficult being in this space because
you have to have Teflon skin, bro. You know that.
You really do.
You have to. Look, you don't think they're coming after me? These random people. Weber's the worst. Oh my God, he's terrible. And it's like I care. We're talking about a movie. Why would I care about the opinion of someone who doesn't have the temerity to stand up in front of the world and say who they are because they're like hiding behind something? Not you guys who are watching that are using avatars. You're good. But the average film Twitter person, and it's like, I don't care. We're talking about a movie. And what I'm saying is not like, the worst stuff ever. We're talking about a film. But for a lot of people, that's too much. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. At the end of the day, I kind of understand. That's where the frustration lies for me right now, is that on one hand, I kind of get it because the business is in the toilet and they want to sort of create this narrative and they want to kind of make sure that the movie has a chance of survival or the TV show or whatever it is. So
it's a business decision.
Let's stack the deck.
Right.
And I get that.
That's what
but
they do.
At the same time, what I think is very, very difficult about this is that there are people who have been doing this for like decades, who have been in this space, who have been doing interviews, who have been doing all this stuff, who are now not, because they're the wild card or they might not say it's, that are literally getting overlooked for this. Like and again, I know people keep saying like, there's this misleading thing of like people are paid, they're not paid, yada yada yada. No one is paid.
Except for maybe Soups might be paid because he says he's a WB partner.
But he says he's a partner. That's a difference. And
does that mean he gets paid? Oh, well, he's admitting he's getting paid, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a difference, right? If like you're a partner, I mean, listen, even YouTubers, right? They're getting paid by like ads. Like there's people who read stuff off.
That's why there's they have a thing or they're one thing, right? It's anti-woke. And it makes it a lot easier because when people watch your channel, they know exactly what you're going to say. You're going to hate this because it's woke. I don't ever do that.
But I want to go into this. I'm tired of it. I feel like I'm going to write an article about it in the next couple of weeks.
Write it.
Don't
give it away. Write it. I want to read it.
You're not going to get. People are not getting paid in the traditional way. Warner Brothers is not handing someone a check. Disney is not handing someone a check. That's not how it works. But I will say that if you look at things, and Eric posted about this earlier this week on Twitter, is that it's very true that like there are perks. And I mentioned, I did a whole post about this last night. There are perks that come with the job that, it's not just, oh, I'm seeing a movie early, like $15, $20 fucking ticket. Like to me, as Eric says, Eric, I don't think has ever said this on the stream. But I'm the one who told Eric to get fucking AMC A-list.
He did. I'm not going to lie. You did. And it was the best investment I ever made. Because now I just pay $28 instead of driving all over LA. I just go down the street to AMC Burbank, and I don't have to see all of the film critics that I don't want to see in the first place. So it works out well for everybody.
But the bottom line is what I'm ultimately getting at is that it's not new. It's not some mystery.
Yep.
It's been there for like decades. So like it's not just new.
Yep.
But I think it's gotten dirtier in the way that it's handled. But, there are people who get flown out to LA, London, New York, wherever the hell the junket is, that get put up in the hotels, that get a per diem, that get flights.
Yep.
Not all of them. I will say that. Not all of them.
But it happens a lot.
There are those people who you see
yes.
on repeat and always getting those interviews and always doing that.
And the critics,
those people are.
I've said it here on the stream during awards season every year over the past however many years, at least 5 years plus.
And Amazon.
Okay. Netflix and Amazon have flown Critics' Choice members from their various cities, wherever they may be, Indiana, Illinois, Kansas, doesn't matter. You're getting a free flight out to Los Angeles where they're going to put you up at the Four Seasons for 3-4 nights, and you're going to get an Uber voucher to get to the airport and also to get from the airport to your hotel. Then we're going to wine and dine you at events. You're going to hang out with the stars. Then we're going to take the Uber back to the 5-star hotel. You're going to live up the life there, and then you're going to fly back to Kansas. You don't think that plays some role in your vote and or what you say about a film? You are compromised. I am never and never will be compromised. And I think that makes people freaked out. They go, well, no, I would never do that, because I would never agree to something like, if you do this, tit for tat, quid quo pro, that I have to do that. No way, man. You could fly me to New York to show me Superman, and I would come out and say this isn't very good. And they'd be like, your flight's canceled on the way home.
I mean, the reality of it is that it. I mean, why the fuck not? I mean, when I came out of, I saw No Way Home with you, Eric, I believe, right?
Yep.
You and I saw
Loved it. Fun movie.
And I loved it, yes. And I was quoted on that, and it was all over the place. And it was like, when that happened, there was like this open invitation that I got to go to a lot of premieres. Got a lot of like opportunities.
Because they used your quote. What was your quote? Like the best superhero movie ever, maybe?
The best Marvel movie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. It was good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So essentially, you do that, they look at that and it's like, oh, we want this guy on our team.
Yeah.
But the thing is like like Eric says, like,
I don't have a team.
I'm 100%. I'm gonna 100% like. At times, I will water down something.
Yep.
But like on a tweet, but when I write my review or when I come out and I really talk about it, you're gonna always get what my feelings are about it. And I'm not gonna outright say that something's great when it's not. I'm not gonna do that. I'm always going to say that this has problems. I wasn't a fan of this.
Yeah, you did.
There's issues here. Yada yada yada.
You still tried it, but you swing back to the positive, and I get it.
I do try to swing back for the positive.
Yeah,
because there are, like I said, unless it's something that really fucking pisses me off.
Right.
Because there's been plenty of movies that have really pissed me off.
Yeah.
And literally, I have gotten calls from studios, PR people, and stuff like Scott, you are off the list of this. You're not coming to this junket.
I told you the story. Remember Babylon? So we got invited to the Babylon world premiere. It was here in LA. It was like in early November or whatever. It was in Beverly Hills. I met you down there. We saw the movie, and it was an abomination, right? I hate that film's awful. So I coming down the stairs. It's at Beverly Hills, like the Academy Theater there. off of Wilshire, and I'm coming down the stairs, and the stars were like walking past me, and it was everything in my power not to say you were just in a horrible movie. I was so angry. You remember I was down at the bottom. I think you came down, and I had to leave, like, because I was going to lose it because I was so angry. I came back and I did a stream that night, and unfortunately, the stream no longer exists. It was one of the most volcanic eruptions in the history of this channel. And what happened was, to your point, when I woke up the next morning, I got an email from PR who was handling it, and they were like, Erick, you broke the embargo. We need you to take that stream down. And I was new to YouTube kind of, so instead of like making it private and then putting it back up, I actually deleted the entire stream. So anybody who was there that night knows what happened, but I have no proof of how bad I went after Babylon. Yeah. But here's the thing. So back to quickly on Babylon and what I say, you need to go harder. That was the very first screening of that film. I was quite literally one of the first people to ever tweet about Babylon.
I went hard on that movie.
No, I know you did. But here's what I'm gonna say. If anyone wants to question my fortitude, let me tell you something. When you're the first person to walk out of a movie and you're going to send a tweet like I did saying this is the worst film of his career, a disaster, holy shit, Babylon's one of the worst things I've sat through, that takes a level of confidence and sureness that most people do not carry. Sean Fennessy sure as hell doesn't. I won't listen. And Scott, you're not even part of this. This is just me bagging on Sean Fennessy. That guy is the biggest fraud in the history of the space. There is no one more fraudulent than that motherfucker. Sorry, Scott has nothing to do with this. Let me just tell you something. He said that's a great film because I'm sure he had Damien Chazelle on. He does not have the guts to say that, even if he believes it. And those are the people that I have no respect for. You can say, respect for me, not you, Scott, but other people. You need to have respect for someone who's going to walk out the very first person without any backup. I don't need anybody else. I'm not going to be like Matt Naglia. Scott's not saying this, I am. And looking at different reactions and cobbling together something. I know that this film is hot trash, and I'm going to flame the motherfucker right now. And that's what I did that night. And guess who else would do that? Nobody would do that in the space. So if you don't like that, then you're siding with the wrong side. I am the hero. Okay, Scott, back to you. I'm just saying, there's nobody, and Scott, you know this, there's no one in this space who goes as hard as me. Is that fair or not fair?
No, I mean, it's 100% fair. I mean, because you speak from a place of authority, a place of knowledge, and a place of expertise. And even if I don't always agree with you, and I think that's really the difference. Like I think you walk out of things and you are so enraged. Like you're so enraged.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm so angry about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what's the difference. Like when I come out, I'm just like, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking at this and I'm formulating and I'm taking like 30 minutes to write this damn tweet. And I'm like, okay, that's a little too mean. Okay, maybe it's not that bad.
No.
But you were just like, you're like, burn it to the ground, baby. like that's the difference. But there's
passion
movies like that. Like Babylon was like that for me. Because I remember I drove to see that. I think it was like a multi-hour drive.
Oh yeah, it was bad. Traffic was horrible. Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
When I walked out of that, I mean, I was livid. Like I was livid walking out of that movie. I'm trying to think what other movies like recently I've been so like livid, like walking out. I mean, I don't know.
For me, The Whale. You know how I know you love The Whale.
I love The Whale.
Hey,
but
by the way, he was there that night. You were right there. Let me because he has to verify this. We come out of The Whale, and Scott was like, "You have to see The Whale." I came out of The Whale, and I was so furious. And the two A24 reps are right by the door. We come walking out in Beverly Hills, and they're like, "So Erick, what do you think?" And I go, "Oh my god, this is some shit." And then the first thing they said, Scott, I don't know if you heard him, but they said, "You hate everything." And I go, "Wait a second. I love X and Lamb. Those are two of your movies. But what do the studios care about? Only the movie they care about. They don't care that you like any of their other films. They're like, do you like this one? Because this is the one we care about."
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an ongoing frustration that I have with studios. my two top favorite studios are Universal
Yes, I agree.
and Warner Brothers.
I would like to say Warner Brothers, but they don't invite me to anything. But Universal still invites me, so I have to put them clear number one.
Yeah, but
Sony's my number two, because Sony will actually get back to me if I ask, hey, can I get something? They actually email me back within minutes. Warner Brothers, I don't know. Disney, they're like, who are you? And I'm like, fine, you want to play that game? I'll just destroy your films harder. But the funny thing is, I still won't. I'm still going to have the exact same reaction whether they invite me to the press screening or not. It doesn't matter to me.
You
right?
You like the Ant-Man movie.
Exactly. And I also was a fan of Alien, and everyone was kind of like mixed on that. I was actually a pretty big fan of the Alien, the last one. So, Disney doesn't even realize I'm actually, except for, I think it was Dial of Disaster that got me in trouble when I called that. I kept calling that film the Dial of Disaster. That stuck. That stuck really hard, and they didn't like that.
No. I think we all, I can tell you very specifically with certain studios, but I'm not going to do it because that what my review was or my reaction was that kind of got me in hot water at certain places.
Yeah.
Because I did an Erick because I felt.
And you were early in it too. You were early in the cycle.
Early in it,
That's always a real issue.
And they one of the worst things that you can do. And it's, again, I'm not going to single anyone out, but one of the worst things you can ever do to a studio is you can go into a highly anticipated movie that they really want
Babylon
to make a shit ton of money or
Babylon.
want a lot of awards for
and
walk out during those early reactions and be one of those tweets that says, this is a dumpster fire.
Yes, that was me.
Fire everybody. What the fuck is going on?
Dude, 120. Dude, that's exactly. And here it is. Hold on. Hey, what? I've got it right here. Just give me a second. This was my reaction coming out of the film. Give me 1 second. Let me pop it up. And I will show you. This is from that night. Hold on. This is my Babylon.
Babylon still?
Yeah, I've got it. I found it. I found the tweet. I was looking for it. Okay, this is what I said about Babylon. One of the very, very first people to say anything about this film. A tonal disaster. Babylon's Damien Chazelle's worst film, a brutally overlong, coked-up mess featuring two great scenes trapped inside a flaming dumpster fire of the script. In a year of disappointments, considering Chazelle's pedigree, the most disappointing of them all, I give it 3 out of 10. That's a FF. People are like, why not a 1? It probably should have gone lower. But here's the thing. That was very, very early. I'm here to tell you, and I know, listen, you can say whatever, Weber, ego, this and that. It has nothing to do with this. I believe this, and I truly think that my going so hard on Babylon really affected that film from an award standpoint because I was so vocal about derailing that film. And that's what you're talking about. I'm not like the average person who just says it. I keep going because I'm certain this film is garbage. So I'm not going to stop. And that's the last thing Paramount wants. They lost a ton of cash on that film. And you don't think that I played some small role that wasn't the mission, because we don't ever want to do that. But my point is when you have any kind of power like that to actually sabotage, sandbag a film, that is real trouble for a studio. They do not want you around because you're in big trouble at that point. You're not worth having around, and that's exactly what happened to me.
But it's like you said, the coming out of something in that initial roundup of reactions, and having that negative. Multiple people at studios have told me this. Like, it is literally like it rocks the building.
That's correct.
Like, it's something that rocks the building, and people are like, holy fuck, like, what are we going to do do this?
How about Everything Everywhere with me, too? Was that good for me?
No.
He didn't need to say anything. He just goes, no. That was because I was the first person, Scott, to say I want to start a club.
I'm actually, now you got me going through this and like looking up because I'm like it's
Everything Everywhere, Anora, and Babylon are 3 films that I destroyed. And trust me when I say this, Neon knows about Anora. Paramount knows about Babylon, and A24 for fuck, and so do the Daniels know about me and Everything Everywhere. That's not because it's not that that's what the intent was. That's what I wanted for the desired outcome. The reality is that's because I will not stop because I am certain that it is the most overrated film to ever win Best Picture, and Anora is the worst film to ever win Best Picture, and Neon even knows that. So, that's the thing is they don't want somebody who's going to not back down. The world wants somebody who's going to get on a knee and say, I'm sorry. To tomorrow, hey, Weber, you went too hard on Superman. I don't think it was nice. Man of Steel, why can't we just like both films? And no, I'm not going to turn around and say no. That's the thing that most people will, right? You know that. They'll be like, I think I was a little too mean.
Well, I mean, listen, my Babylon tweet was Babylon is an ambitious mess of a film. I don't
ambitious
even know where
is too positive, but yes, you're right. It's fair.
I don't even know where to begin with this one, but the tone is all over the place. Margot Robbie tries, but the script fails her. A love letter to cinema that made me hate cinema. I mean, that's a pretty harsh tweet.
Oh, wow. That's brutal. I like that. That's what we need. We need more of that, Menzel. More Babylon energy. Because I'm sure the Ringer crew thought it was great because they don't know what they're doing over there. Literally everything that is got, I'm telling you, man. I don't watch because all I hear is they like. I'm like, what's this guy not like? On Sunday night, I'm going to do a shill that we both know. I don't know. I mean, I think you've spoken to this person. I'm going to do a shill. And it's going to be really, really, really vicious because here's the reality is that if you're in the space and you're liking 95+% of the films, giving it a fresh, we need to call you out and we need to make sure that that is highlighted as the issue. I'm not the issue. Someone who gives a fresh rating to 95% plus of the films and shows that person watches, that's an issue. I mean, how is that not an issue? That shows no power of discernment whatsoever. And that's what we're battling in this space. So if I go too hard, too bad. We need some people like this in the space. There aren't enough. Yeah. So we need to get Scott meaner.
I just, it's so funny because I just keep going back to it. I have now been able to walk into most films that I see and I expect mediocrity. Yeah. I mean, that's really the truth.
I wish I could say I think that way. I don't. I expect them when you spend $300 million, I expect it to be great. Because I expect $300 million, you better make a great film.
Dude, after Mission Impossible, fucking last Mission Impossible.
I know, wasn't great.
Ballerina,
I agree.
After Jurassic World. I mean, Jesus, like how many of these movies?
I know, but you have to always think it's going to be the best. I can't go in thinking it's going to be mid.
But they're just like, like that's what I look at things and I just go,
Yeah.
Like that's the saddest thing. And I think like that's when you every once in a while, and I even think, and I'll even say this, like I think even when something hits for me, I'm so like underwhelmed by so much now that I actually feel like I may even go overboard because I'm surprised that like it's good.
Yeah.
Because I'm so disappointed by like most of the things that I watch now.
Well, a great example is a movie I just saw, and I know you like it too, is Sorry Baby. I don't think it's a great film, but considering what I've seen recently, it stands out as a very strong film compared to everything else I've been subject to lately.
Oh my God, that's the worst part about going to a fucking film festival. Like, and I know you never went to one, but I will tell you, like, you sit through film festivals, right? And you see Sorry Baby at Sundance and The Ballad of Wallace Island.
Yeah, I love that film.
And you're like, these two fucking movies, you're like, these are fucking great movies.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see all these other, like, mid-tier, like, middle-of-the-road movies. Like, how did this fucking get made? Yeah. And, like, why are people saying this is good?
Yeah.
And then, so like, you essentially, you're sitting there and you're just waiting. That's what I feel like the cinematic experience is like now. I just sit there and I'm waiting. I'm like, oh, this is fine.
I know.
This is fine.
Over. Yep.
This is okay. Yep. And then all of a sudden I see something where like, oh, this script's better than like 90% of the other things.
Listen,
and then I'm like, oh, this is the great. That's how, like, literally, I feel. But I'm never going to go, like, that's the thing, like, and that's what drives me the most bonkers about everybody is that you can't walk out of every fucking movie and say that it's good. Like you literally.
You can if you're the show we're having on Sunday.
Everything needs to be like this mix positive, mix negative, because, like, that's the reality of the world that we live in with cinema.
Agreed. It's rare. I mean, by the way, speaking of, I was thinking about this, the best screenplays of the year are Companion and Ballad of Wallace Island. Those are the best screenplays.
Ballad of Wallace Island is great screenplay.
Yeah, I agree. Direction's fine. That's the thing is, right, in companion direction, fine. Best directed film of the year is F1. And then you talk about, I think another really strong screenplay is Magazine Dreams. I think it's flawed, but it's like that scene in the dude, the scene in the restaurant's amazing. That scene in the restaurant's the best scene of the year. Okay, and also quickly, and then I got to watch Grace Randolph, and I can't have you around. We got to watch Grace. And I'm going to hammer. Yeah, we got to see what she has to say.
She's going to be excited.
What's she going to say? I know you like Grace Randolph.
I do like Grace Randolph. I think Grace Randolph has such established a brand. She built an entire brand about herself.
Sure, she's one of the OGs. She's one of the OGs.
She's honestly, regardless of whether you like her or not,
yeah,
I think she's one of the few people, like, she's kind of like, she's not afraid to say how she feels about things.
Makes money. She makes money at this too. That's very rare in this space.
That's what I'm saying. But think about that in a space.
Mm-hmm.
She's still, like, if she doesn't like something, she's gonna say it. And even if people don't agree with her and they rip her apart, I give her credit for that because so many people don't now. Everyone kind of waters it down.
Yeah, no, she does that. She's just schizo. You don't know what she's going to... She doesn't get a lot of them right. Her batting average is like 150. MMT's batting average is 950.
We know a lot of people in this space who don't get it right?
Well, no, it's Scott Mendelsohn. I know you can't say anything, but Mendelssohn's not a good critic. I mean, he's very smart at box office, but as a critic, I think he's one of the worst critics that we certainly have in the space. Not because I think he actually will say what he believes, but I think he's so wrong. It's like, what film did you watch? Like, I honestly, there's times I go, I don't even know what you're even looking at. At least, like, like if I say, you've even said this, even if you don't agree with me, you're like, yeah, those points are fair.
No, I mean, listen, I mean, I get, like, a lot of this stuff that you don't like about, like, Coda. I can see where you're coming from. They don't bother me. Like, but I get from where you're coming from, and I get your perspective of why that doesn't work for you. Erick won't let another man watch.
That's one of my favorite comments ever. It's true. Grace and I have a very special relationship, Scott. When we start watching Grace, you got to go. But no, no. But you're right. Listen, you're right about Grace. She's a badass when it comes to. She's OG. She makes money. I mean, there's Jeremy Johns, Stuckman, her. Who else?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
makes really good money. Nerdrotic makes really good money.
Stuckman, when he did the whole thing, when he became a filmmaker,
right?
And he said that I'm not going to say negative things anymore. He should have shut down the channel.
That's right.
Like there's no.
Well, of course he wasn't going to do that.
And no, I know because he makes too much money.
Yeah, it's money.
But like the bottom line is that you've lost that. And I get I get where he's coming from. He now is like, he got fucking Mike Flanagan to be a fucking producer on his film.
I know.
So you're not going to fuck that up.
Yeah, I know.
But
you hear they had to go reshoot it? Did you hear
what?
They had to reshoot it? They went back in and reshot.
I have heard
Dude,
that.
that's not good. A finished film? How often do you hear about that? A film that debuts at a festival and they go back in and reshoot? I don't know if I've ever heard that in my life. Netflix did it with The King. Remember that? They did 2 versions. People said it was too long, and they went back in. They went back in and recut it, and they asked everyone to go see it again. And everyone's like, no, I'm not watching that again. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression, right? But that's what they're doing with this film. It debuted, and the reviews are out there. And now they're going to add stuff. Honest to God, I've never heard of that in my life.
I mean, I think it's because he did it on didn't he do it on a GoFundMe budget? It was probably very limited. Neon bought it, and they
but don't buy it if you don't think it's good.
Flanagan's going to step in and like help with it. I mean, listen,
guess, but have to reshoot a bunch of shit? That's weird.
I mean, it's probably super low budget. I didn't see it, but
okay, but right. Think about it. Like if I made a movie and then someone bought it, let's say A24, they never would because they don't love me. But if they did, and they all of a sudden said, "Listen, your film's whatever," of course they'd never buy it because they would. But again, they said, "But we're gonna go reshoot it with another director and add some things." I'd be like, "Damn, man, is it really that? It's not that good. You just like me for me." It's like right. It's like you don't. The girl doesn't. She's not really into you. She's into you for the money. I think that's what it was. She was Neon was into Stuckman because of who he is, not because of the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that was nasty. But is that not fair?
No, I mean listen, there's truth to that. I mean, you know that movie you like, that animated movie, what the fuck was it? Ruby Gillman Goes to Town,
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever
I
the
liked
fuck in that
Ruby
movie.
Gillman. It was cute.
You know, half the movie was voiced by influencers. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good heart. That's a fun little animated film. I'm not saying it's great, but it's certainly better than Lilo and Stitch, the live action shit.
That didn't do great numbers.
No.
But I think but again, it's different, right? Like for something like that movie, I can't even remember what's it called. I don't even remember what it's called.
Which one? Ruby Gillman
movie. What's Stuckman movie?
Oh, is it Ruby Gates? No, something lame like that. Coral Lane. It's 2 words like a subdivision in the Midwest.
Okay.
Look it up. Ruby Sparks. No, that's another movie.
No, that movie's great. I
like
love
Ruby Sparks. I interviewed what's his
Shelby
name for that?
Oates.
I see, but look, is Ruby Sparks close to Shelby Oaks? Do you see how the brain's working there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it just feels the same. But no, I liked Ruby Sparks. I interviewed what's his name from Batman for that. He came in with his girlfriend. Who was
awkward.
I know he's very awkward, and he wasn't that big a deal then. He was his directorial debut, and the studio Searchlight gave me a beach chair that said Ruby Sparks on it. I think I was the only person in the world that went to the beach with a Ruby Sparks beach chair, and then eventually I just left it at the beach. That was the most random.
Did you get the Swiss Army Man? I mean, there was
nope. A24 doesn't give me shit.
Oh, I had the Swiss Army Man towel.
Oh my God.
It was the dead Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh my God. No, A24 used
to
to send me the Christmas shit. They don't send it to me anymore because I'm persona non grata anywhere at Neon, A24. Did I tell you the other night, this is a quick story. I want you to think about this for a second. The other night, because it's live, I can say whatever I want. I checked my phone and I was getting these messages from some place I've never got in my life. It was like a random area code. And they were telling me to pull up something on MMT. And I'm like, who is this that's texting me? It wasn't you, as no one I had saved as a contact. You know what the person said? The person said, I work at Neon and we watch you and we wanted you to do this. We watch the show. And I swear I could show. Next time I'm with you and we're drinking, I will show you the text. It was the weirdest thing. How did you find my number to my cell phone? And then clearly they got it from.
They have it at Neon.
That's the thing. The studios have all of the numbers. So whoever this works at Neon and was randomly texting me.
What was it about?
It was about, they wanted me to show Blu-ray Angel crying because they think he's a total goober. So I'll do that on Sunday for you. Yeah.
Is that really the truth? Like,
yeah,
they wanted
100%. They wanted me to make fun of Blu-ray Angel. And I said, okay, I will. But the people like it when I go after the shills. They enjoy that. They think it's funny. Gone Girl, who was here for a while and then went to bed. I don't blame him because we're now been on for almost 2 hours. Gone Girl was like, it's best when you're making fun of the blue-haired film Twitter folk. And I'm like, well, I do that quite often. So this Neon person apparently enjoys that. I'll show you the tweet. Maybe you know who it. I'll show you the number. Maybe you even have it saved as a number. You can do your search and put in your Rolodex. Maybe you can figure out who it was. It was weird, dude. I'm like, who's texting me while I'm on a stream? And how do they know my number? Isn't that kind of creepy? Weird.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
All right, so there you go. All right, I'm going to watch Grace Randolph. Everybody, nope, Scott can't watch. Listen, we have a very secretive love affair.
Talk enough about Superman, honestly.
Yes, we did.
I don't know.
Listen, you know what we'll do? We can open up the can of worms on Superman on Sunday because I have to quickly watch Grace Randolph. I'll bring you back Sunday. We can go after Superman again.
She loved it. She loved it.
Well, that'd be fun.
I want to leave. Hold on. I want to say something.
No, go for it.
With this.
You've earned it.
Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Fans in the chat, whoever copies and pastes and tells us how much they hate both of us later on Twitter, whatever the case may be.
The two worst people in the world.
Well, the worst people in the world. Look at
this, for sure.
These fuckheads. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm sure that's on my tweets waiting for me.
How, in your opinion,
has
there ever really been a bad Superman? Or is it been a bad Superman movie? Because, there's this constant thing about, oh, was this Superman bad? I don't think Henry Cavill was a bad Superman.
No.
I don't think that Brandon Routh was a bad Superman.
He was okay.
I think they're all victims of the filmmakers, the writing, or whatever the case may be, or a combination of that. And I mean, that's the same thing I would say with David Cornswet.
But I think he's good.
That
I think
he's
he does
good.
great.
No,
I liked him.
good.
Okay,
they're
good.
all good, but they're
No,
all
I hear you.
good.
Okay.
That's
But I
my
think
whole
he's
point.
better than average. I think he's better than average. Is that too much? You don't think so? It's fine.
I think
You don't think
they're
he's
all
bad?
like I know. I mean, listen, it's all about who you grow up with, right? So it's like for me,
Roger Moore, Bond for me.
if I'm growing, like if I'm growing up, right? You're gonna, if you're a child of the 70s or the 80s, you're gonna say Christopher Reeve.
Of course.
Like I mean, and like I'm sorry, like it's like that's what you're gonna say.
Yeah,
that's who it is. But I look at Henry and I said, he was great. He just didn't have the first shout out I've heard it.
I remember that guy.
He's at cons all the time, by the way.
Is he?
He's at cons every weekend.
But what's he? Is he?
That movie may have not been money, but I'll tell you, that man has made so much money off that at Comic-Con.
Really? Has he?
Oh my God, he's
hopefully got a cut.
Go to rostercon.com, everyone, if you want to look it up. Type in his name. And I bet he's at like 20 more cons for the rest of the year.
He goes to conventions.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant he went to Cannes, and you were saying
no,
Cannes
no,
is con.
No.
Oh,
no,
he goes to con. Okay, now I get it. Now it all makes sense. He goes. There's a lot of money to be made if you go to a Comic-Con and stand there.
So much money. I mean,
do you think that if I went to a Comic-Con and I had a booth, that people would pay to throw things at me? Would I make money? There's Eric Weber. People are throwing like rotten tomatoes at me.
If you go to VideoCon in LA where all your haters are, I think so. I think you can do it. I think
you know what I should do? Have you ever seen that where they dunk the clown and I sit on the stool? Yes. I should rent out a dunk tank and I sit on there and berate people and go, look at you over there. You need to go and get in shape, fatty. And they start throwing balls and I go into the water. I would be really good at that. Yeah. Could you sell me on that? A dunk tank. We could make a lot of money, Scott.
But the point that I'm making is I really don't think when you look at a lot of these actors who play these iconic characters, I think it's very safe to say that it becomes a matter of preference based on like the time frame or the period you grow up with. Like Michael Keaton will always be my Batman.
Sure.
But like at the same time, I actually thought Val Kilmer was decent as Batman. I kind of like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah.
Like I don't really think the actors, they have done such a great job casting so many of these characters. It's literally what the movie was, what the writer was, that really kind of like hurts the movie as a whole and doesn't make it what it became. That's what I'll leave you with. Okay,
it's perfect. Everybody, a big round of applause for Scott Menzel. He rocks. He's the man. Thank you, sir. It's time for us to watch Grace Randolph. I'll bring you back on Sunday if you want to come on. Come on, and we'll meet up maybe one of these days, even tomorrow. I'm good. And let's get a drink somewhere cheap, and I will show you the text
We'll
messages.
rewrite the Superman script.
We'll rewrite the script.
We'll rewrite it for you.
I'll show you the text, and we can figure out who this person from Neon that was randomly texting me was. All right, thank you, sir. Everybody, it's Scott Menzel. Good night, Scott. We'll see you back here Sunday. All right, guys, it's time to watch Grace Randolph. You're asking me why I'm doing this. Because I can. That's why. I want to see what Grace had to say about the movie. If you missed anything about Superman here tonight, you can go back and watch this entire stream, because I know you want to have amazing rewatchability with this. Go back and go to Midnight Movie Talk on YouTube. You're going to find the stream. I also added Kick. I think we have 0 viewers on Kick, so it's very thrilling to have 0 over there. It's all good. Guys, listen, I don't care if there's 5 people watching, 500. The other night we had 750 live. This is cool. It doesn't matter. I was doing the stream and I literally looked up and there was 1. And I think it was my mom. So I don't care. It doesn't matter. Grace Randolph destroys us in views and likes. It's not a contest. But I need to find out what she had to say. This is Erick Reviews Grace Randolph. We'll do it, and then we're out of here on this Thursday. Let's watch just a little bit of what she had to say.
Welcome to my spoiler review for Superman.
Oh, it's spoilers.
You finally saw it. Hooray! Achievement unlocked. Or you're taking a little bit of a sneak peek. I hope.
I like how she adds the emojis because it doesn't make sense until I see the celebratory emoji and or the peeking emoji. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done the same thing here with mine when I add things like, as you can see, it's the box office preview show with a bag of cash, but it doesn't appear on the screen. I feel like we could do better at that. That's my first thing I want to say. Kudos to you, Miss Randolph.
You know, I'll either get you even more excited for the film or maybe convince you to give it a whirl, because I was hesitant too, and I ended up really liking it.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Do you think if I wore a low-cut dress that I'd have more subscribers and or likes and or views? If you guys think that would help, I will look for something that's more of a low-cut V-neck kit to wear. This is a very high V-neck here. I can wear something that shows a little more cleavage. I'm all about that for the views. I'm just not going to change the content. The content is still going to be me being very irascible for 2 hours tonight.
All right, so there's so much to discuss. And as we get started, why not take a moment to hit that subscribe
No, I haven't
button?
done that enough. She's already selling her channel. Just get to the movie. Let me hit it.
Never knew, because he'd only heard the first half of their message. Because they were cold as ice. You know, they didn't, they weren't like yelling at him. They were like, maybe rule over Earth. So, he didn't see the direction the message
I'm going
was
ahead.
at. But James Gunn made up for it with Supergirl. Yes,
Ooh,
Supergirl
transition.
shows up, not in a post-credit scene at the very end of the movie. I can't wait.
This is all spoilers. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see what she says about James Gunn.
Now, as I said, I did not like the harem comments, and they kept going. I'm like, stop it.
Oh, yeah, that was really awful, too. I mean, there's so many things to discuss with this film, but the fact that Superman had a whole bunch of bitches back at his place, apparently, that was the big rumor.
The harem. Like when the leader of that evil country acted out the women of his country being the most beautiful and had the most seats in Superman's
because
harem.
The script's terrible. These are all reasons. These are all little minutia, little things that make it worse and worse and worse. She's making a good point, though. That's awful.
It was just so creepy. It was really bad.
Yep. Oh, then why do you think it's good?
Leave this guy. I think it would be hard for many women watching this movie not to really feel bad for Miss Tessmacher.
Hold on, let's get to the conclusion.
I think it's a great comic book movie. There's just so much going on.
Great.
I hope that will help.
It's a great movie, even though she said it's awful, all these moments. How is it great when all these moments are awful? You can't have awful then great, right? When you dip into awful territory, you can't be great at the end. This is why she's our schizo critic.
With repeat viewings, that James Gunn could dream up such a complex story with so many
dream up a shitty script.
characters, and then actually make it come together.
No, it definitely doesn't. She's reading her teleprompter, by the way, and she's 100% wrong. This does not come together. It comes together as one of the worst scripts of the year.
Compelling and entertaining way that makes sense is truly a superhero feat. Who are your favorite characters in the
Oh, my God. It's weird. How does she say? Remember, she said the harem shit's awful, and then, by the way, it's a great comic book movie. We love you, James Gunn. Schizo critic here tonight. All right, get ready. Let's close this thing out with some comments, and I'm out of here. Open comment time. I'll get to as many as possible. I'm going to play the songs that I played tonight. Give me 1 second to hit this, and then hit this. Here it comes. As an experience, we said it was right. I don't know. I didn't watch everything, Vincent. It's too long. It's like 30 minutes. I've been on for almost 2 hours. I'm completely exhausted. Can I just get ready for bed? No, I'm really tired. Guys, I'll be back here on Sunday. We'll have the box office show. Actually, truth be told, I'm going to do a short stream tomorrow whenever those Superman numbers come in from Deadline. Deadline's always got the box office stuff first. I'll do a stream tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. I'm guessing I'll probably be on at like 4 is my guess. So 4 o'clock tomorrow, look for a stream from me live, like a 10-minute box office, how this film did on Thursday and how Deadline has it going through the weekend. I forgot to give you my number. That's my bad. Let me give it to you right now. I'm going to take this thing at 122 up for the 3-day. That means I believe the floor is 122. And we can go higher because there's a real energy for this film. And I can see it in the views, talking about Superman, and I can see it at AMC where I was tonight. You can feel it. People are excited, and this is a big film. So Warner Brothers should be expecting certainly 100 plus. I would put it at 120 plus, and if it goes above the 122, I will not be surprised. We'll get the latest on that tomorrow afternoon. Until then, I'm exhausted. Thanks for being here. I appreciate the support, even if you hate watch. Thank you. MMT from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it. Thanks. See you back here tomorrow.